Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'd like to introduce the book that I just had published last October with Cambridge University Press. And it's called Kant's Metaphysics of the Will, Freedom, Reason, and the Moral Law. In this book, what I do is I give a defense of Kant's project in the groundwork, grounding morality in our rational capacities. So the main thing that I do in this book is provide an analysis of Kant's account of what it is to have a will. And I argue that everything that he says about the character of morality falls out of his account of rational agency. Against many of the critics that have said that Kant's argument doesn't work, I try to show that, in fact, it works much better than people will allow. What's important, the main moves in the book is just, again, to give an account of the metaphysics of what it means to be a rational agent, the metaphysics of what it means to have a will, which I think is what is fundamental to what Kant is doing in the groundwork. I argue that what Kant provides in the groundwork is an analysis of rational agency, an analysis of the conditions of willing, and most importantly, the idea is going to be that in order to will at all, in order for the agent to be able to say that it is somehow in some kind of control of what it is doing, and that it has intent in an end that it wants to achieve, that in order to do that, it has to be able to act in accordance with the idea of laws. In other words, it has to see how it is that the world works, and has to plan out its actions in accordance with what it sees are these regularities, these laws of the surrounding world. And if that's the case, then agency requires rationality. And that you can't have real agency without being able to act in accordance with the idea of laws. The main idea that I'm trying to put forward is that once the agent recognizes that its agency depends on its rationality and begins to reflect on what this rationality entails, it is also then going to see, or the implication that it is bound by morality, in the sense that insofar as it acts, it must take into account other rational agents. It becomes a member, it must think of itself as a member of the intelligible world, to put it as Kant does, and must again act in accordance with the laws of the intelligible world. And those laws are that there are other rational agents that must be taken into account when one is engaging in one's own rational agency. Reflection on the conditions of agency are going to lead Kant to argue that what morality is about has to do with how it is that you exercise your agential power, in particular in relation to other rational agents. So Kant's focus is going to be on the principle of the causality of the will. How is it that you exercise your power? What are the procedures in place that are governing your exercise of agential power in relation to other rational agents? And that is going to be the core of morality. Conditions of agency imply that you are an intelligence, right? And that as an intelligence, you are going to be bound by the laws of intelligences, which are universal, which apply to all rational agents. So what I just want to talk about right now, finally, is, well, why did I think that this project of defending Kant's grounding of morality in rationality is so important? And I think that it is, particularly today when there are so many views out there that want to say that we need to go back to tradition, or we need to ground morality in religion or ethnicity, ethnicities or traditions, or maybe those that just say, well, it's just all about who has the most power, and that's it. So Kant is going to offer us a way of thinking of morality that just has to do with agency, and that just by being an agent, a rational agent, you are going to be bound by certain rules. This is not something that is just constructed. This is an actual implication of what it would mean to be, what it means to use your reason. So 3 things that I would say are very important in what Kant's project has to offer to us today. One would be, the first, the most important, I would say, is that what you have in Kant is what I call a proceduralism over an absolutism of ends. In an absolutism of ends, again, you just say, okay, we've got these certain ends, we've got these spiritual ends, we know that this is the good, this is what is good, and then we just need to just do it. We need to get it done, whatever means necessary, right? So an absolutism of ends would lead to some sort of might be a situation like what you had in the Middle Ages, or a little bit after the Middle Ages with the Inquisition, right? Where some people decide, okay, these are these spiritual ends, or they need to be enforced for the good of everybody, and we're just going to do whatever it takes to enforce them. And if we need to burn people at the stake, so be it. We will burn them at the stake, right? The achievement of the end, whatever it takes, is what is important in this absolutism of ends. And over against that, you have Kant that says, no, what is important is how it is that ends are achieved. What is the procedure? How is the causality of the will exercised? How is power exercised in relation to other rational agents, right? And that's what's key about morality. That is what's key to morality. This discussion of procedure in relation to rationality also leads to the idea of the universalism of morality, its application to all rational agents, and that is going to be what is most important, and not the particularities of a subject which would dictate that it has particular ends, right? What is going to be important is that they use reason, and how this reason is applied in procedures, how reason is going to make some requirements on how power is exercised. And lastly, what's important here is also that you're going to be able to recognize what it means to be a subject, and the limitations of subjectivity. So the idea would be is that whatever ends you happen to have, those are going to be there in virtue of your particular limitations, your particular subjectivity, other people have their own points of view as well. And that is sort of like what the universality is, just recognizing that everybody has their own points of view and are exercising their power from this particular point of view. So the universality concerns the limitations on the exercise of power, but there's also this recognition of the finitude and the limitation of the particular agent as it supplies its own maxims that are then going to be tested against the universal moral law.